The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the cliff where tragedy had struck a year ago. David stood at the edge, the wind whispering the echoes of his wife's final scream. Every day since her untimely fall had been a battle for survival, not just for him, but for their 3 young sons, who still cried out for their mother in the dead of night. After the accident, Claire, his late wife's sister, had moved in to help. She was a godsend, picking up the pieces of their shattered lives, cooking, cleaning, and caring for the boys. She was the glue that held them together, and David was grateful. But as the first anniversary of his wife's death approached, he knew he needed to move forward for the sake of his sons and his own sanity. So, he began to date. Date 1. Laura. Laura was an accountant, meticulous and organized. They met at a quiet cafe. She spoke in numbers and spreadsheets, her life as ordered as her checkbook, but when she pulled out a laminated spreadsheet detailing her 5-year life plan over coffee, David knew she was not the one. He needed spontaneity, not a business merger. Date 2. Angela was an artist, her wild curls as untamed as her spirit. They met at an art gallery. Her passion was infectious, but when she started crying over a red splatter painting, claiming it represented the blood of the universe, David felt out of his depth. He craved stability, not emotional chaos. Date 3. Megan was a fitness instructor, all muscle and energy. They went hiking, and she pushed him to his limits. But when she started critiquing his form and lecturing him on his diet, he realized he needed compassion, not a drill sergeant. Date 4. Rachel was a single mother of 2. They met at a playground so their kids could play together. She was kind and nurturing, but when she began comparing their children's achievements, it became clear she was too competitive. David needed support, not rivalry. Date 5. Stephanie was a corporate lawyer, sharp and witty. They had dinner at a high-end restaurant. Her intelligence was stimulating, but her constant need to win every argument wore him out. He needed a partner, not an adversary. Date 6. Heather was a free spirit, traveling the world with nothing but a backpack. They met at a travel seminar. Her stories were fascinating, but when she suggested they go backpacking across Asia with his 3 sons, he knew he needed practicality, not wanderlust. Date 7. Emily was a chef, passionate about food. They met at her restaurant, and the meal was divine. But when she started criticizing his taste in food and insisting he learn to cook gourmet meals, he realized he needed acceptance, not transformation. Date 8. Victoria was a psychiatrist, calm and understanding. They met at a charity event. She was insightful, but when she began psychoanalyzing his every word, he felt exposed and uncomfortable. He needed intimacy, not therapy. After 8 dates with 8 different women, David came to a blatant conclusion. Women were crazy, or so he thought. Each had their quirks, but none fit the puzzle of his life. As he returned home each night, weary from another failed date, he found solace in Claire's company. She was always there, her presence a balm to his wounded heart. The boys adored her, and slowly something began to shift between them. Her touch lingered a moment too long, their eyes locked a beat too late, and soon the unspoken words between them grew too loud to ignore. One evening, as they sat on the porch, watching the sunset, David took her hand. "I don't know what I'd do without you," he whispered. Claire's eyes glistened with unshed tears. "You'll never have to find out," she replied, her voice trembling. Their love blossomed, a fragile bloom born from shared grief and unspoken desires. But beneath the surface, a dark secret lay buried. Claire had been there the day her sister fell, and in a moment of jealousy, she had pushed her. As their relationship deepened, Claire's guilt gnawed at her, a relentless beast. She loved David truly, but the shadow of her sin darkened every corner of their happiness. What would the family think if they knew? Her betrayal would destroy them all. In the end, they stood together at the edge of the cliff, where it all began. David pulled her close, their future uncertain but intertwined. Claire gazed into his eyes, her secret a silent scream in her heart. Would they end up together? Only time would tell if love could conquer the darkness of her deception.